It's not accepting. Sunita ma'am, you are there?
It started, ma'am.
Started. You start, ma'am. Yeah.
A very good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Crispin Gigi, Associate Professor, Department of ECE. On behalf of Children's Education Society, the Oxford College of Engineering, I would welcome you all for the 6-day faculty development program on recent trends in photonics. I would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. P.C. Srikanth, Professor and former Head of Department of ECE, Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan, who will give us an insight about the topic quantum concept and applications. Now I request Dr. Bhargav Ramagao to introduce our chief guest. Over to you, sir.
So, thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. So today's speaker I am going to introduce. So Dr. P.C. Srikanth had his schooling in the same town and graduated in Electronics and Communication Engineering in 1987 from Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan, securing first class with distinction. He has completed his MTech in 1996 from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, in the area of lasers, and obtained his PhD from VTU Belgaum. He worked in the Applied Photonics Lab, IISc Bangalore, during his PhD. Starting as a lecturer in 1987, he became assistant professor in 1999, professor in 2011 in Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan. He has a deep involvement in photonics and optical networks, as was awarded as top 100 engineers 2011 by International Biographical Center, St. Thomas Place, ELY, Great Britain. He was selected for Marcus Who in Science and Engineering 2011 to 12, and also in 1617, New Providence, New Jersey, USA. He received the Best Paper Award for the following papers: Modeling of Photonic Crystal Ring Resonator Temperature Sensor during 2014, and Detection of Fluoride Contaminated Water in Dental Applications during 2015 at international conferences. He has been awarded as Outstanding Scientist in the field of photonics by Venus International Foundation, VRD, on 2015. In 2018, he received Albert Nelson Marcus Lifetime Achievement Award from Marcus Who in Science and Engineering, New Providence, New Jersey, USA. His research areas include optical communication and networks, photonic bandgap crystals, wireless networks, lasers, and quantum electronics. He has guided or guiding more than 100 BE, MTech, and PhD students. He has so far published more than 200 papers in national and international journals and conferences. He has attended many international conferences in India and abroad and has chaired many technical sessions. He has organized many international conferences and workshops. He has also given many keynote and invited talks at international conferences and workshops. Awards and laurels won by Dr. P.C. Srikanth run into volumes. So far, he has received 14 awards, and Sir is senior member IEEE USA and lifetime member ISTE. Currently, he is Vice Chairman IEEE Photonics Society, Karnataka Chapter, Bangalore, and Head of Prakash Bharati IEEE Photonics Society, India, and Secretary All India Council IEEE Photonics Society, India. It's very pleasure to have you. Thank you. You can hand over session.
So thank you, Professor Bhargav Rama, for your kind introduction about me. So I think with the permission of HOD, Dr. Preeta, and the management of your college, so I am really grateful for you for giving me an opportunity to speak about quantum. I think I will. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will start. I will start with the basic concepts. So please mute some of. Hello, Sunita. Muted. Professor Sunita.
Nagapushpa ma'am. Yeah, yes, sir. Just a minute, sir. Nagapushpa ma'am. Yes, sir. You can, sir. Now.
Okay, because there was some background noise. Someone has not unmuted. So now it's a new thing. It is a trend. What is that? What I tell you, new trend in our technology. What is that? Quantum. So quantum is not a new technology. Of course, quantum is. I think 100 years back they have done a little bit work on quantum. In fact, the pioneer in the quantum is none other than Einstein. And also a little bit about Schrodinger also I'm going to tell. So with that one, I'm going to start from the basics of the quantum, why quantum is required and why not others, and why in future the quantum will prevail. So I'm going to tell one by one. So now I'll start sharing my slide. Before I start sharing my slide, I will tell. So I keep on telling whenever I go to some talks like this. So we are from electronics and communication engineering background. Then days are not far off. Definitely, the last decade was completely electronics. Now, the photonics is encroaching, and almost it is completely camouflaged electronics. Most of the things now, the thing which we deal is photonics only. That's the reason why days are not far off. Instead of electronics and communication, we may go for what is known as photonics and communication. So, as all of us aware of the fact that photons doesn't have mass and energy in rest, but electron has got definite mass and definite energy. That's the difference between photon and an electron. You know that in even in communication also, because of fiber optic cable and also for communication through photon, we get huge bandwidth and huge data rate. So all this coupled, and then all this went. Whatever I am telling you is now the thing is photonics. When you come for photonics, you are going to deal it 10 to the power of -9 nano. So this is known as nanotechnology. So when I deal with that one Morse theorem, every 18 to 24 months, that the chip on the transistor is going to double. That means if 1 million chip is there today, and another 18 to 24 months, it will be 2 million. That means to say that one, on the same area of the chip, you are going to have more and more transistors. The moment you come for more and more, the size of the transistor is coming to shrink. So because of that one, we cannot go for what is known as classical physics. So classical physics does not explain all those things. Then we have to go for what is known as quantum physics. So that is the reason why we are going for quantum. So now I am going to present my style with a little bit of introduction. I will start sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Hello, you are seeing my screen? Please tell me if there is any problem.
No, sir. No, sir. Not yet.
Yeah, one second. I have to share the screen. Sorry. So I will share my screen. Screen share. So please do interrupt if there is any problem with sharing the screen. Okay. So is it being shared? Hello.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
The screen is being shared.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the starting slide itself, animation. I told you, no.
Oh, just now he has opened quantum concepts and applications.
Hello. Sir, good morning, sir. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Just now Dr. Sharan reminded me. So I am joining now. Anyway, good that I am seeing the first slide. I want to listen everything.
Okay, sir. Good morning.
Okay, please continue. Don't worry about me.
Oh, sure, sir. This is quantum concepts and applications. So you can see my first slide itself is animated one. So I got a lot of animations in my slides. So I am going to tell you what basic quantum concepts, and then I am going to do some applications. Of course, we have done little bit on quantum deep learning, but I cannot share some of the results because it is not yet published. Okay, I'm just. Okay, this is the outline of my presentation. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, This is the outline. Are you going to see this one? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Outline slide is there.
it is actually online. Online I'm giving from the cloud. It should have been changed to 17th. Unfortunately, it is not updated. So it is showing 16th. Sorry for that one. So in the outline, so I'm going to tell what all the things I'm going to deal. Quantum basics, I'm going to tell what are the basics. Then qubit representation. Then quantum key concepts, quantum gates, the gates associated with quantum gates, X gate, Z gate, Y gate, H gate, that is Hadamard gate, C naught gate, and CC gate. So this is the first part of it. So now, so what is quantum mechanics? I was telling you just now, no, what we are doing. For example, we are seeing big things like in our life, more than micro level. So we can deal with what is known as our classical physics can explain. But when you go for a small subatomic or subatomic level, our classical theory fails. Then we have to go for quantum only. So that is the biggest challenge for us, because quantum is a little bit tough to learn, but because it is not completely concrete, like it is not deterministic when you compare to the classical. One is, I think, if I call the what is that one? Classical is intuitive. It is non-intuitive. This one, quantum. Okay, it is not intuitive. Okay, so quantum mechanics. What is quantum mechanics? Quantum mechanics is the science of very small things. It explains small things which cannot be explained in classical physics. It explains the behavior of the matter and its interaction with the energy on the scale of atomic and subatomic particles. By contrast, classical physics explains matter and energy only on a scale familiar to human experience. Whatever you are going to see, that can be explained. Even microscopic also can be explained in classical, including the behavior of the astronomical bodies such as moon. Astronomical bodies, moon, sun, or anything, Saturn, or anything. So you can explain using classical physics. Then what is a quantum computer? This is the most important thing. There are a lot of things. The application of quantum is multifold. Like quantum can be used in computers, it can be used in communication, or it can be used in this one, machine learning, deep learning, etc. Of course, deep learning is one of the sub-branch of machine learning. A quantum computer is a machine that performs calculation based on the laws of quantum mechanics. So you know that laws of it is governed by the laws of quantum mechanics, which is the behavior of particles at the subatomic level. I told you, you can broadly classify quantum and classical into micro in quantum and macro in classical. So like that, I can partition these two. Okay. So now, is it changed to next slide? Has it changed to next slide? Sunita? Professor Sunita? Hello? Professor Sunita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is introduction. I'm in introduction
Yes,
now.
sir. Moore's
Okay.
law. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moore's law.
So Moore's law. So I've already told Moore's law was born in 1965. He's claimed that I have already told number of transistors per chip roughly doubles every 18 to 24 months on one hand, and this results in faster and faster processing, fulfilling the dreams and expectation of academia, industry, and consumers. On the other hand, there is a critical trade-off. We must etch thinner and thinner lines on the surface of semiconductor chips. That means I am telling you the size of the transistor is going to reduce, finally reach a nanoscale 10 to the power of -9 world, which is governed by rules of laws collectively called quantum mechanics. Your classical physics fails to explain, then we have to resort for quantum mechanics when you are going for miniaturization. Of course, we have to go for that one. So now most of the things we are dealing the chips on silicon only. On a small silicon chip, each and every year we are going, every year, I mean every 1.5 years to 2 years, we are doubling the transistor which is etched on the same chip. That means the area occupied by each transistor is coming down to 10 to the power of -9. When you go for 10 to the power of -9, when the distance between the two transistor is very small, of the order of 7 nanometers, 5 nanometer technology, 3 nanometer technology, what is known as quantum tunneling will take place. So it is not actually explained, the quantum tunneling. The fundamental question with the silicon transistor is that 7 nanometer point, transistors sit on a close to each other. After you try to shrink further, 5 nanometer to 3 nanometer, an effect called quantum tunneling. So this is an uncontrolled flow of electrons. Quantum tunneling is uncontrolled flow of electrons will come into the picture. This effect unfortunately means that the transistor cannot be turned off reliably. I am telling you, underline this one, reliably. You cannot turn off the transistor reliably because uncontrolled flow of electrons and for the most of the part will stay on. So the physical limitation on the silicon are very real and in fact create steep challenges to handle it. So on the other hand, quantum computers use qubits. So like whatever I am telling you in clearly what is qubit, what is binary bit. We use qubit, which is typically subatomic particles such as electrons or photons. We represent a quantum by using a single electron or a single photon, depending if it is a photon, we go for polarization. We electron, we go for spin. Okay, spin up and spin down like that. So I'll come to it later. Generating and managing qubits is a scientific and engineering challenge. It's really an engineering challenge. So now you can see the earlier chip, there were only 4 transistors in that one. So as the day progressed, you can see more number of transistors are being etched on a single silicon wafer. Semiconductor fabrication. So you can see in I think 1977, I just give in the right side, classical physics class is gone by up to 2016. Up to 2016, we have 10 nanometer technology. Like it started with 10 micrometer in 1971, 10 nanometer in 2016. You can see the drastic development from 1971 to 2016 and 2018. We have come to 7 nanometer technology. But when you go for 7 nanometer, that is the size of the transistor. When you go for 7 nanometer size transistor, your classical physics definitely will not give any solution for that. We have to, it is completely governed by quantum concept, quantum laws. So then 5 nanometer technology by 2020 and future nodes are 3 nanometer and 2 nanometer in 2022 and 2023. See, it's going to reduce day by day the size of the transistor etched on a single silicon wafer. So diameter of a single silicon atom is 0.2 nanometer. See, diameter of a single silicon atom is 0.2 nanometer. You can go at the most up to 2 nanometer. So now we can see that one solution. So silicon is not possible. You have to go for another material. So another solution is you can go for another technology. These are the solution which is applied for silicon. So now I am going to, this is a basic thing, you know, that all of us know about double slit experiment. So are you seeing, Sunita? I will interrupt you once in a while. You are seeing that double slit experiment slide?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Yeah, okay. Double slit experiment. You can see we have a light source which is coming and shining on a double slit, and you are having one output from upper slit and another output from another slit. You know that there will be constructive and destructive interference of both the waves which is emerging out of slit 1 and slit 2. Whenever there is no phase change, then this interference is called constructive interference. That means they are going to add. When the phase change is 180 degrees between one wave to another wave, then it cancels out. That is destructive interference. And ultimately, if you have a photosensitive screen in front of it, you are going to get a thing which is of the shape of a wave. So that is the reason why some people tell that light is nothing but a wave. Some will tell light is nothing but packet. So it is a dual nature of light. I am going to tell you in one by one after the slides. So this is what you have. You are getting what is known as wave type thing. Once you have a wave, then you have to go for Schrodinger Lagrange equation to solve that one. So I am showing you a small video. Just see that one. You can see how double slit experiment. I think. Are you seeing this one, Sunita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Video is there.
Yeah, you can see the center part is very bright and it looks like a wave. So this is what the experiment. I'm just telling you the experimental setup, double slit experiment. So this they have done long back. So Young has done long back this experiment. So now instead of previously we are using the light. Light is nothing but photons. Now I am taking a tennis ball. Tennis ball exhibiting particle nature. Okay. See, I'll tell you why it is that one. So I am just having a gun. Gun is repeatedly pumping or shooting the tennis ball. So a tennis ball may go from go either through slit 1 or through slit 2. So you are going to get on the right side. There are two patterns. One is at the both are at the peak in front of the slit. It is just like a bell graph, and you can see this tennis ball is acting like a particle. So that is the reason when we are going for macro level, it is nothing but particle in nature. When you are going for nano level, it exhibits like what is that wave nature. Okay, this is a basic class. Now ripples in the water. You can see the ripples in the water is almost analogous to the photons or light which I have showed you in the previous slide. So you can see the ripples in the water. So ripple is passing through slit 1 and slit 2, double slit. So there will be a wave. That wave, so when two waves are interfering constructively, no phase difference, then constructive interference, you are going to get maximum output. When two waves are interfering with 180-degree phase shift, we call it as destructive interference. And ultimately we have a screen. You can see here on the screen, you are going to have what is known as a wave type structure, which you are going to see you on the screen. So this is also almost identical to like ripples in the water showing the wave nature. So now you can see some small animation. You can see how constructively interfered and how destructively interfered. Ultimately, you can see on the screen. Can you see the screen? You are going to have, just now screen is coming. See, on the screen you are going to see wave nature, okay, instead of particle nature. So now I am repeating the experiment with electron gun instead of tennis ball. So I use electron. You know, electron is the what you call dimension of the electron is in the order of nano. So you can see slit 1 and slit 2. Once again, double slit. Okay. So I am pushing or injecting lot of electrons from electron gun, and ultimately some electron will pass through slit 1 and some electron will pass through slit 2. And we have a photosensitive screen to see what is the pattern you are going to get on the photosensitive screen. And you can see it looks like a wave. You can see it looks like a wave rather than a particle. So electron of the order of nanometer, you are going to see a wave-like structure. So this is the reason why when particles like photon and electron, we are going to see what is known as wave type nature. Now, electron gun, but in slit 1, it is blocked. Slit 1 is blocked. Close one of the slit and see the result. I have blocked one slit, and the electrons is going through only slit 2. There is no interference between the output of the slit 1 and slit 2 because only one output is coming. So it is behaving like a particle here. So here also you can see in the one slit the animation. I think Sunita, you are seeing the animation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
on the right hand. Yeah. So single slit, you can see only it is acting like a particle. Okay. So now I am going to put a detector in slit 1. Okay, to detect the which slit is electron is passing. I will keep a note on that one, whether the electron is passing through slit 1 or slit 2. This is an accountability. When we started doing like this, then we could able to see on the photosensitive screen. You see, you are seeing that one. That means you are detecting it. So then you are going to get a pattern, something like particle in nature. Can you see? Similar, that is identical with that of a tennis ball. That means you can infer that this can behave as a wave, this can behave as a particle. So like that, a small animation is there. See, if it is seeing, if someone is observing, if observation is kept, you can see that one double slit only. You can see that one animation. So you are going to see it as a not a wave, it is a particle. Can you see that one? Small video. Sunita, be on the line when I ask the thing, so that I
Yes, we can able to see, sir.
yeah, you see that when I comes, when some observer is there, then it is acting like a particle. Okay. When there is no observer, it acts like a wave. So keep the detector in place of, but do not look at the result. So I am keeping a detector, but I am not counting. Just a detector I have kept. I am not observing. I have kept a detector. When we keep a detector, here you can see. Here you can see on the photosensitive screen, it is a wave-like structure. I told you, when you observe, you are going to get particle type. But when you have a detector which does not see, only detects, then you are going to see wave-like structure. This is known as, once again, dual nature of light particle. So now this very nice video clearly explains particle nature, wave nature, quantum objects, and observer and an observer. You can see I am going to play this video for you. So is it playing, Professor Sunita?
Yes, sir. Playing, sir.
Yeah, it is a particle. You can see we are pushing the particle, or we are pumping the particle through double slits. Particle may be electron or a photon or an atom. You can see on the screen it looks like a particle. Now wave, you can see the wave emanating from the same source going to the double slit. So there will be a constructive and destructive interference. You can see on the screen you are going to get a wave type of thing on the screen. Now quantum objects. So quantum objects, you can see it is going to the double slit and it is acting like, it should act like a, it's coming, it is acting like a particle if it is a quantum. Sorry, quantum, it is a okay, wave. Next, if you put the observer, you can see if you are keeping the observer. So if you keep the observer, I have already told it acts like a particle. If an observer measures through which slit the wave goes, then the wave reduces and goes only through one of the two slits. No interference can occur anymore. So no fringes appear on the screen. The observer has modified the experiment. You can see it looks like a particle. So in this one, what I can conclude is particle behavior, wave behavior. If it is quantum object, it behaves like a wave. Okay, is it okay? Can I go to the next slide? Professor Sunita, is it, this animation is done?
Yes, sir. Finished.
I'm going to. Okay, now. So now quantum basics I have done with double slit experiment and single slit experiment also. So now I'll go for what is known as qubit representation. Okay, quantum bit representation next. See now, this is most important thing. So qubit, it is a Ket notation. You see, I have written qubit in Ket notation. Alpha, when electron or photon is passing through slit 1, it is Ket slit 1, and beta Ket slit 2 when electron or photon is passing through slit 2. If alpha and beta are the probabilities, alpha and beta are the probabilities associated with the slit 1 and slit 2. If electron passes through the slit 1, the alpha probability will become 1. If electron or photon, both are same. I mean, both are, if you use both, if electron or photon passing through slit 2, then the probability beta is 100%. That means alpha is 0%, beta is 100%. In a nutshell, the probability of associated with alpha and beta can be thought of as 100%. That is alpha square plus beta square probabilities put together 100%. You cannot get more than 100%. So it can be represented by ket 0 and ket 1. Slit 1 is represented as ket 0 and slit 2 is represented as ket 1. So earlier you see here we are dealing with now ket notation, Dirac or ket notation. So now we are going to use wave functions. You know that wave function is Schrodinger wave equation. Wave function is given by alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. So if you are going for ket 0, if you are getting ket 0, then alpha is 100%, beta is 0%. And if the output is ket 1, beta is 100%, alpha is equal to 0. So this is not actually what you say in classical bits, like 1 and 2 are deterministic in nature. Okay, they are deterministic. You can tell either 0 or 1. But here you can see, you cannot explain like 0 and 1 like in classical. It is a superposition of the states, both 0 and state, ket 0 and ket 1 state. That means you are going to get number of states, not only single state. There are huge number of states instead of 0 and 1. For example, if alpha is 20, beta will be 80. If alpha is 70, beta will be 30, like that. Okay. Then the total probability, the alpha square plus beta square is always equal to 1. So then we go for what is known as vector notation. You can see this is what vector notation. My cursor is moving, Sunita.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in vector notation, you can see the wave function is represented in vector notation alpha and beta. So ket 0 is represented as 1, 0, and ket 1 is represented as 0, 1. I have already told it is not a single state, it is a two state, it is superposition of many states. So now we can see representing quantum information. I have already told you take photon, you take electron, you take atom. So everything will exhibit two states. In normal or two state means two state, but if you go for the total thing, that will be a superposition in quantum. In normal or classical computing, the basic unit of information is a bit. A bit can be one of the two states, either it can be 0 or it can be 1. In quantum computing, the basic unit of information is qubit. After measurement, a qubit will be one of the two states, either ket 0 or ket 1. Ket 0 or ket 1 notation called ket notation invented by Dirac, a famous scientist. He invented ket notation. States of a qubit can be represented by entities which resolve two states, such as I told you, anything which exhibits two states, you can go for the experiments in quantum. Photon, you have photon vertical polarization, horizontal polarization, one of the thing, or 135-degree polarization or 35 degrees polarization. I am going to 45 degrees or 135 degrees polarization. So I am going to tell you, I am going to show the figures how it can be done when I am dealing with quantum key distribution. The electron spin, you can see in the right side, the electron spin up or spin down. You can see in the right side. Am I moving the cursor? If it is moving up, we can call it as ket 1. You can see if it is moving down, it can be thought of as ket 0. Is it okay, Sunita?
Yes, sir.
My cursor is moving. Okay. Like that, atom. Now I am going to go for atom. So in the atom, you have got ground state as well as higher state. If the electron is at the ground state, we call it as ket 0 state, and like this one. If the electron is at the excited state, that is higher state, we call it as ket 1 state. 0 and state are called basis states. So their basis means vectors. No, we know all of us know about basis functions. Linear combination of states, I told you, no, psi is a wave function alpha of ket 0 plus beta of ket 1, which is called superposition. So I think I have cleared your things regarding the qubit. So I'm going for the next slide. So now the representation of the qubit and the block sphere representation, how I can correlate that one. You can see in the classical one, you can see either you can have 0 or 1. There is no problem, absolutely. But when you go for next p bit means probabilistic. So it depends on the probability. You may end up with 0 or you may end up with 1. So this is probabilistic in nature. If it is near to 0, it is 0. If it is near to 1, it is 1. So it is totally probabilistic. But whereas in qubit, you have got many number of states. So you have, if you mark a point on the sphere, million points are, I mean, infinite numbers of points can be marked on the sphere. You can see the block sphere representation. Ket 0, this is z-axis, this is x-axis, and this is y-axis, and this is ket 1 block sphere. Okay. So now the blue one, the red one is the position of your electron or a photon. Okay, and this makes an angle with respect to z theta, and with respect to x, this projection with respect to x makes an angle phi. So theta and phi, from that one we are going to determine what type of your alpha and beta and the phase angle. Okay. So now qubit representation, block sphere, the same thing, little bit more explained. I told you, no, in the in the z axis you have got ket 0, negative z axis you have got ket 1, and the angle between z and psi is theta, and the angle between the projection of this one on the x with respect to this one is phi, with respect to x is phi. So this is the projection on xy plane. Okay, so psi is equal to alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. Psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0 e to the power of j psi. I am telling you, when you go for this notation, it is complex, but your binary thing is not a complex. Okay, it is completely real. So you are going to encounter what is known as j, a complex number, sin theta by 2. Alpha, beta are not simple integer, they are complex. Phi epsilon theta comma 2 pi and theta epsilon 0 comma pi. You know that one. It can, phi can go from 0 to 360 degrees. Theta can go from 0 to 180 degrees. Block vector coordinates are sin theta cos theta, matrix sin theta cos theta, that is equal to x, y, and z. So I don't want to go much into the mathematics because I don't have time, because it's a very huge subject. Bit 0 and bit 1, how you can represent bit 0? Alpha is equal to 1, beta is equal to 0. So if alpha is equal to 1 and beta is equal to 0, you can represent it as psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0 plus e to the power of j phi sin theta by 2 ket 1. Phi is equal to theta and theta is equal to 0. Block sphere coordinates sin theta cos phi, sin theta sin phi cos theta, x, y, z, and it is 0, 0, 1. So this is alpha is equal to 1, beta is equal to 0. Then if it is alpha is equal to 0 and beta is equal to 1, you can see psi is equal to ket alpha 0 plus beta ket 1. You can see in the left, I'll show the animation also here. That animation gives a very beautiful thing. Psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0 plus e to the power of j complex number sin theta by 2 ket 1. Block sphere coordinates sin theta cos phi, sin theta sin phi. 1 second. And x, y, z 0, 0 and minus 1. So this is the representation of 0 and 1. Different representation are there. And like that one. Okay, now a qubit representation of +1 and -1 state. So once again, psi is equal to alpha 0 and beta ket 1. Alpha is equal to 1 by square root 2, beta is equal to 1 by square root 2. That means the probability of alpha is 50%, that is square at 1 by square root is 50%, beta 1 by square root, it is 50%. Psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0, e to the power of j psi sin theta by 2 ket 1. Phi is equal to 0 and theta is equal to 90. It is too much of mathematics. Anyhow, I'll quickly finish it up. Sin theta, cos theta, sin theta, sin phi, cos theta, x, y, z, it is 1, 0, 0, 1. So like that. So another state, it is negative state. Okay, negative state. Ket psi function, ket psi is equal to alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. Alpha is equal to 1 by root 2, beta is equal to -1 by root 2. In the previous one, beta is equal to 1 by root 2. That means 50% of alpha and 50% of beta. And ultimately, psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0 plus e to the power of j phi sin theta by 2 ket 1. Phi is equal to 180 degrees and phi is equal to 90 degrees. Block vector coordinates is sin theta cos phi, sin theta sin phi, and then cos theta x, y, z -1, 0, 0. There you are going to get x, y, z as 1, 0, 0. Here you are going to get as -1, 0, 0. That's the difference between positive state and negative state. So now another state is known as plus I state and minus I state. It's a complex state. I when you come this one. So for plus I state, once again you have what you call this one. Okay, psi function alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. Hello. Are you seeing my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it went out of my control. That's the reason why I asked you. So this is one. Now this is over. No, then a second. Sorry. Okay, I was there in plus I minus I cos theta. So x, y, z 0, 1, 0. That is the thing which you are going to get in the block sphere. So once again, similarly, you can see for ket minus I state, alpha is equal to 1 by root 2, beta is equal to minus I. Instead of plus I, minus y, 1 by square root 2. Of course, when 1 by square root 2 and 1 by square root 2 is 50-50%. Psi is equal to cos theta by 2 ket 0, e to the power of j psi sin theta by 2 ket 1. Phi is equal to 270 degrees and theta is equal to 90 degrees. If you apply that one, you are going to get x, y, z is equal to 0, -1, 0. There in the previous state plus I state 0, 1, 0, that x, y, z. In x, y, z in negative I state, it is 0, -1, 0. Just I'll move to the next slide. Yeah. So this is what actually one of the this is a simulated from IBM quiz kit. I have taken the screenshot of it. You can see the zero state, how you can represent the zero state by your block sphere representation. So here you can see this is x coordinate and y coordinate and z coordinate. So qubit is represented as the probability alpha is equal to 1, 0, and probability of beta is equal to 0 and ket 1. Here both theta and phi is equal to 0. You can see in this one the angle of this red one is nothing but your point on the block sphere. It makes theta is equal to 0 and the projection of this angle with x is equal to 0. That's the reason why the phase of theta and phi are equal to 0, and it is represented as 1 and 0, that is 1 and 0 in the matrix notation. So I am going to see how bit 1 is represented and how bit 0 is represented. Now I am going to see bit 1. So bit 1, you can see earlier in the bit 0, your point was this, the point on the block sphere was on this one. Now the point is exactly 180 degrees. That is the reason why you are having theta is equal to 180 degrees. Can you see the theta is equal to 180 degrees? Of course, phi is equal to 0 degrees only. So qubit is represented as alpha is equal to 0, ket 0 plus beta is equal to 1, ket 1. the probability of ket 0 is 0 and probability of ket 1 is 100. Probability of ket 1 is 100. In the previous one, probability of 0 is 100. Probability of ket 1 is 0. So it is represented as 0, 1 in matrix form. That is how representation of bit 0 and so now how you represent. I'll show the state machine also for this one. Then ultimately I will go for QKD and then deep learning if time permits. I'm going to complete it. So qubit representation plus state plus ket state. You can see here where your point. I'll show that one. Where is the cursor? Yeah, you can see the red one. It is exactly overlapping on the x-axis. That means the phi is definitely equal to 0. If it is with respect to phi is equal to 0. With respect to theta, that is with respect to c axis, it is 90 degrees. Points are probability of ket 0 and 50% of you getting one probability is ket 1 is 50%. So it is represented in matrix form 1 by square root 2, 1 by square root 2, 1, 1. So this is representation of plus state. So negative state is definitely next one. I'll show negative state. Negative state, you can see here. Negative state, the point exactly moved from on the x exactly to 180 degrees. Then with respect to z axis, it is 90 degrees. So it is 1 by square root of 1 minus 1 in matrix representation. So this is a matrix representation. Probability, the qubit is 70%. So 0.707 alpha is 0.707, ket 0 plus beta minus 0.707 ket 0. Probability of ket 0 50% and probability of ket 1 is 50%. So now after having seen few states, or plus state, minus state, I plus I state, minus I state, 0 state and 1 state. So now I'm going to choose the where is the cursor? Can you see the cursor? Yeah. So this red one. So our particle or electron or atom is on this point, making an angle theta with respect to z-axis, and the projection of one with the x-axis is phi. So any point, there are million and infinite number of points. Generally, you can represent it equal to 32, 29 point, 291.80 degrees. So qubit 0.9593, that is alpha, ket 0. Beta is equal to 1. Probability of you getting ket 0 is 92% and probability of you getting 1 is 7.9%. All put together, the probability of 0 and ket 0 and ket 1 should not be more than 1. So any arbitrary point. So I think okay, this is another arbitrary state. So once again, I'll just go back. So I can see any arbitrary state, it is 1 by square root of 1 minus 1. Okay. So this is probability of ket 0 is 84.93% and ket 1 is 15.07. All put together, if add, you are going to get 1. That is 1 by square root 2, the matrix representation 1 minus 1. So now let me go for next slide. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So you can see here qubit sphere representation. You can see in all the 3 spheres, okay, zeros and ones are represented. See, I am showing the three figures. The reason a qubit represented as a sphere is because of coefficient. So it may be 1 or 0, but ultimately when you come to the orientation or the phase, it is different. That's what I am going to show in this one. The reason why we consider coefficients are complex numbers. I told you complex once you are associated with superposition. The probability from 0 to 1 is similar to classical probability. I think it may be 0 or 1, but the complex coefficient introduces an additional parameter, what is known as phase angle. I already told. So all the sphere may represent the same 0, but the orientation is different. Or the 1, 0 or 1, but the phase is different. The spheres above represent 3 different qubits with the same probability portions of 0ness and 1ness, but with different phases. So now I am going to deal a small on a few things about quantum key concept, superposition. You can see I have seen that when it is a superposition, that means there are few coins which is placed on a table or a floor. A coin may, if you flip the coin, you may get tail or head. Tail or head. It is not deterministic. It is probabilistic. So that is the reason we are seeing all the states as superposition. Ket psi is equal to alpha, ket 0 plus beta, ket 1. The working of quantum computer is based on using the particles in superposition rather than representing bits. Such particles represents qubits, which can take a value 0 or both simultaneously. It's a superposition. So just I have shown some examples. So now here absolutely you can see quantum measurement. You can see either you can see the coins either 1 or 0. Measurement yields only one state of X or the superposed state. Measurement also makes X of the new state and interferes with the computational process. X is determined with some probability less than or equal to 1, implying uncertainty in the result. See, we rely on uncertainty principle when you go for quantum position and momentum. So that is less than or equal to 1. States cannot be copied. That means here the most important thing in the classical one, you can copy the state either 0, 1, but here state cannot be copied or it cannot be cloned in the it is implied, implying that signal fan out is not permitted. Environmental interference can cause a measurement like state collapse. So if you make the measurement, then it will become collapsed. So this is what actually we go for quantum key distribution. Okay. So now quantum entanglement, I am going to run through this one. This is what the 2 qubit is entangled, and operational that affects one on them also affects on the other qubit. Supposing say you take 2 hands, and in the left hand side you have a coin, and on the right hand side you have a coin, the same kind of coin. And if you entangle these 2 coins, I am telling you the coins. So when you do the experiment on the left hand side, it is close one. Of light years. The 2 coins are separated by light years. Then whatever you do the experiment on coin 1, the same will be on the coin 2. That is also known as teleportation. So this such as Einstein, Podolsky, Rosen EPR product. Suppose you take 2 entangled qubits and give one to Alice and one to Bob. They move apart. Now Alice measures the state of Is it shared now?
No, sir. Ah, sir, it's coming.
Okay. So now I am going to deal quickly. I am going to skip this slide because I don't have time. See, entanglement I have already told, so I just tell. So you can see here, entangled photon, single photon. It is, I mean, two photon entangled and emanating from the same source. Entangled photon 1, entangled photon 2, measurement 1 and measurement 2. So if they are entangled, whatever you do the measurement on photon 1, the same thing measurement will do the
What happened, ma'am? Once again, same problem.
No sound, no?
No, ma'am. Shrikant, sir? Sir?
He has some network issues on his side, I believe. He's unmuted only. Screen is seen, but voice is not audible. Maybe problem with microphone. Just check, Sunita ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm calling him.
so that it will not be interrupted. High quality. 300 Mbps is sufficient, I think. Yeah, I think I'm coming to it. Okay. So
Yes. Yes, sir. Just slide onwards.
Yeah, I was here, no, madam?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, red. You can see that red and white ball.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I want to entangle these two. One is red and another is white. You can see. So when we entangle, it will become reddish white. A small thing which I have done on my own, and they are entangled now. And you move apart these two. See, the properties remain entangled over a long distance. This is known as teleportation. Whatever you do on the left hand, and what the same thing will be there on the right hand. This one. So that is one is known as teleportation. Without physically moving, you can communicate from. You can do the experiment on this one. The same thing holds good on experiment 2. Experiment on this sphere. Okay. So that is known as teleportation. Because of entanglement, you could able to get the teleportation. Yeah, now I am doing the experiment on the left, and I am going to get red, and I am going to because of the experiment did on the left, the same the reverse will be reflecting on the right. So it can be 1-to-1 or it can be reverse one. It is there in our hand. So there is definitely, if I do the measurement on the left ball or sphere, you are going to get the effect on the right one. The distance may be light years, very large distance, I am telling you. A measurement here also changes the heat there instantaneously. So now I am going to entangle the left one with one more, and these two are left and right are entangled. If I perform the operation, you can see the same thing will be reflected on the right one. So it will become greenish white. So this is entanglement and teleportation. I am going to quantum teleportation, transformation of information over long distance without going there. Am I audible? Madam?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
And also slides are coming, no problem.
Yes, sir.
So now I am going to show some of the gates which is really needed. Quantum gates, okay? Quantum gates. The actually basic difference between our logic gates, what we are doing, binary gates and quantum gate is different. Quantum gate is reversible in nature, whereas in classical it is not reversible. And also the constraint here in this quantum gate is it should comply, or the constraint is that it is unitary property, okay? A quantum gate or a quantum logic gate is a quantum circuit operating on one or more number of qubits. They are analogous to quantum computers, classical gates, or conventional digital computers. Some properties of these gates are, I told you, quantum gates are reversible operation. This means that it must be possible for us to create initial state using only the output state without additional information. See, in quantum gates, you can reverse it. If you give the input, if you get the output, and if you interchange it, it is bidirectional sort of things. If you give the output, you may get back the input. The another constraint I told you is the condition for the gate must adhere to in order to achieve the constraint is known as unitary condition. You know that unitary condition, of course, all of us know about it. For a unit function matrix U to be unitary. So how the unit matrix U can be unitary? Inverse of U must be equal to U dagger. What is U dagger? U dagger is a conjugate transpose of U obtained by transposing and then complex conjugate of U. This is only constraint on the quantum gates and unitary matrix specified in quantum gate. So now I am going to get X gate, okay? So X gate. So this is Pauli X gate, and it is also known as negation or not gate. You can see Pauli X gate acts on a single qubit. It is one. It is input is one. It is the quantum equivalent of NOT gate. In NOT gate, if you give 0, you will get 1. If you give 1, you will get 1. It equates to the rotation of around the x-axis of the Bloch sphere. I will tell you how it is. I will show the animation also, and I will show the state diagram also. You can see if you give the input ket 0, you are going to get output ket 1. Is it visible? Madam? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Slide is
Visible,
there,
sir. Pauli X gate it is shown.
Okay. That is 1 0 1 1 0, and you can see how the operation is performed. This is what is your Pauli matrix, and your thing is 1 0 is ket 0. Remember, 1 0 is ket 0. Multiply it, and you are going to get 0 1. So 0 1 is nothing but ket 1. Okay, ket 1. So now you can see the operation here. Input psi is equal to alpha ket 0 plus beta ket 1. Output is equal to psi is equal to beta ket 0 alpha ket 1. So here beta and alpha are interchanged in output, and you can see it is it revolves around this, your vector revolves around x axis. That's the reason why we call it as x gate. Can you see here? The red one, I'm just pointing out. Can you see it is revolving on x axis? X gate. This is red one is x. It is revolving on the x axis. Okay. So now you can see, I'll show the state diagram. If you give, I'll just show a +1 state. If you give +1 state as the input, you are going to get the same state. Can you see the same state? If you give +1, you are going to get +1 only. If you give ket1, you are going to get ket0. That we have seen. If you are going to give minus ket minus, and you are going to get minus ket. And if you are going to give this value plus minus ket plus, you are going to get minus ket plus only. You can see the state diagram. Okay. So likewise, so now I'll show the operation. This is your matrix. This is a X matrix, and it is acting on. So -1 0. So what is that -1 0? Input is -1 0. It is your minus ket 0 notation. Okay. Then I am going to apply. So you are going to get, what is that one? Minus ket 1 notation. Can you see this one? If I give 0, I am going to get minus ket 1. So this is how it is acting. That means it is going to invert. So it is known as Z gate. Once again, Z gate, your vector revolves around Z axis. Can you see here? Vector is revolving. Your vector is on the Z axis. It is revolving. I think please unmute. Some of you, one of them have, please unmute. Hello, madam. There is a
I'm
noise.
just checking, sir. No, sir, removed. Now it's fine.
Okay. So now Pauli X gate, you can see right in the right hand side, this vector is centered as Z axis and it is revolving in the Z axis 180 degrees. Okay. Pauli Z gate, it is also known as phase shift gate. Phase shift means what? If you give ket 0, you are going to get ket 0 only. There is no phase for 0. And if you give ket 1, you are going to get minus ket 1 state. See how it is. So the Pauli matrix for Z gate is 1 0 0 minus 1. Multiply it by 0 1. 0 1 is ket 1, as we know that ket 1, and you are going to get minus ket 1. Can you see this one? Minus ket 1. Can you see minus ket 1? If you give the input plus ket 1, you are going to get minus ket 1, or you can take minus 1. So this is minus ket 1. So Pauli X matrix for this is 1 0 0 minus 1. That's what we have multiplied. This is a Pauli X matrix. So Pauli Z gate acts on a single qubit. It equates to the rotation around Z axis of the block sphere by pi radians. It leaves the basis state 0 unchanged. I told you 0 will be unchanged. Maps ket 1 to minus ket 1 due to its nature. It is sometimes called phase flip. It is represented as Pauli Z matrix. Okay. So now two gates are over. And then Y gate. Y gate is a combination of Z and X gate. Okay. So it is a combination of phase shift and negation. So you are going to get both phase shift and negative thing of it. So Pauli X gate acts on the single qubit. It equates to a rotation around Y axis. The moment we tell X, it rotates on X axis. The moment we tell Y, it rotates on Y axis. The moment we tell Z, it rotates on Z axis. So it rotates around Y axis of the block sphere by pi radians. So if you give the input ket 0, you are going to get ket complex conjugate complex number of ket 1, I ket 1, and if you give 1 minus I ket 0. So this is the combination. That means negation as well as phase shift. You can see 180 degrees phase shift from ket 0 and 180 degrees for ket 1. So negation means plus 1 become minus 1. So Pauli Y matrix for this one is 0 minus I 0. I'll show this one. You can see. So this is your Pauli matrix. Multiply. This is ket 1. 0 1 is ket 1. If you multiply, I am going to give ket 1. You are going to get minus I 0. That will be minus I 1 0. So that is what is complied with this result. If you give ket 0, it is minus I ket 0. So this is what poly Y gate. And another gate which is I'll show this notation. Can you see unitary property? Can you see it is actually combination of X and Z gate. So both gates coupled, you are going to get Y gate. So in the left hand, in the gate, you can see X rotates, this X rotates around X axis, Z rotates around Z axis, and Y you can see here. You can see here, I'll just one second. You can see in the right hand side. Left hand is over. So it is Y gate, you can see rotation around Y axis. Okay. So now unitary property. So I told unitary poly Y matrix 0 minus I 0 complex conjugate. Take the complex conjugate of this one. I told you not dagger function. So 0 minus I 0. So you transpose this complex conjugate, you are going to get this. Then ultimately inverse of poly Y matrix 1 by the magnitude of Y and adjoint of Y, you are going to get this 0I minus I 0, and ultimately you are going to get back the same Pauli matrix. So I told you they are reversible in nature. So another gate, another 1 or 2 gates are there. I think Hadamard gate. Hadamard gate, H gate is called as Hadamard gate. The Hadamard gate acts on the single qubit. All here many times except C0 and CC0, it acts on the single qubit. Another one gate is there. I'll finish it up. It marks the basic state. So 0 is represented as ket 0 plus ket 1 divided by square root 2. That is 50%. Ket 1 is represented as 0 minus ket 0 minus ket 1 divided by square root 2. Means that a measurement will have equal probabilities to become 1 or 0. It creates superposition. It represents a rotation of x plus z divided by square root 2 at the Bloch sphere. So this is the rotation. Can you see? X plus, this is a red one. X plus, it rotates around x plus y divided, x plus z divided by 2 at Bloch sphere. Equivalently, it is a combination of two rotation about z, then by pi by 2 about the x-axis. So this is your Pauli matrix 1 1 for Hadamard gate, 1 minus 1 1 by square root 2, state 0. So if you apply, you are going to get ket 0 ket 1 superposition, and at the output you are going to get, if you add 2, you are going to get ket 1. Okay, this is what the Hadamard gate. I think you can build. So this is the state machine. So if so this is the state machine. If you give ket 1, you are going to get minus state. Can you see here? Minus state. So if you are going to get minus of minus ket minus of minus ket, you are going to get minus 1 state. So if you give ket 0 state, you are going to get minus of plus state. So this is a state unit circle state machine of the Hadamard gate. So the last one is C0 gate. So this is very simple gate. You can see here there are C0 gate, controlled NOT gate operates on 2 qubits. So earlier all were operating on single qubit. Now these are operating on multiple 2 qubits. Performs the NOT operation on the second qubit only. So you can see here B is control, A is target. Input I am giving A 0 0 1 1, B 0 1 0 1. When the target is 0, the output will always be 0. Okay. When you have a target 1, then output will become changed from 0 to 1. So if you have 1 target, it is like that. See, if so 0 0, you are going to get 0 1. Second bit, you can see 0 1, second bit is 1, then 0 1 only, then 1 0, then you are going to get the second bit 1 0, like that. So you can see if your target bit, you can see the target bit is, last one is 1, then the B bit is 1. So it will change. See, sorry. When the control bit is depending upon the control bit is B. Second bit, you can see the second bit. Second bit is 0. There is no change, like that. So B is the control bit. So you can see when the B is 1, your A will be 1. Okay, 1. And if B is equal to 1, once again 1, 1, your A will become changed to 0. That means this is A and B. 0, 0 will become 0, 0, 0 will become only, and 1, 0 will become 1, 1. You can see here 1, 0 will become 1, 1, and 1, 1 will become 1, 1, and 1, 1 will become get 1, 0. So this is 2 state. So likewise, you can construct 3 input C0 gate, CC not gate, control, not gate, CC and gate, and this is a matrix. So here C is control, B is control, A is target. You can see there are 2 controls. A is target. CC not gate operates on the 3 qubits, performs not operation on the target qubit only when other 2 qubits are 1. Only when other 2 qubits are 1. That is B and C. Otherwise leaves unchanged. You can see when we can get control is B and C. B and C 0, 0, B and C 0, 1. No change. B and C 1, 1. When B and C 1, 1, you can see the state of A is changed to 1. So once again in the last one, B and C is 1, 1. The state of this change is changed from A is changed from 1 to 0. This is CC not gate. So now last one, I think quantum key distribution. I'll take another, madam, I'll take another 10 to 15 minutes. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. No
Because
problem.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, because I don't know, because of technical
No problem, sir.
Because okay, why should we worry? So
No
this
problem.
is what quantum, we are going for encryption and decryption, credit. So there are a lot of things which we are losing our money, we are losing our credentials, credit card purchase, online banking, defense communication. We are all having some hackers all at risk of being compromised with quantum computers. Information communicated through classical cryptography is now. This will be compromised with quantum computers. We need to take steps now in order to prevent this catastrophe. The solution is quantum cryptography. I'm going to tell what's wrong with classical cryptography. You know that one. Last one I will read. Quantum communication relies on the physical properties of photons rather than mathematical complexities used in classical cryptography. That is the main difference. So here we use Shor's algorithm for quantum gates, then perform factorization in polynomial time. Okay. So I am going to, unconditional security is not possible. Example, protocol based on the mathematical complexity of factorizing large numbers. The last sentence is most important. Quantum communication relies on physical properties of photon or electron or any particle rather than its mathematical complexities used in classical cryptography. That is the reason why we are going to see what is that one change in the coming time. Computational resources grow very fast, and today hard problem could be solved tomorrow using brute force attack. New algorithm for classical computers, rationalization of quantum computers. My security should be independent of future advancement in the computational power. New algorithms, it should be future secure. This brings need for quantum cryptography, where the security based on laws of nature and not on the mathematical complexity. So it is completely based on the nature of the particle, and it does not depend upon the mathematics of it. Most important part is the quantum key distribution, QKD. So how does quantum mechanics protect information? The idea can be summarized as follows. Measurement disturb the signal on an average. If the signal are non-orthogonal, adversary cannot ascertain which one is. Uncertainty principle, position and momentum, all of us know about it. Unknown quantum states cannot be cloned. This is most important. Clone means in binary you can copy 1 to 1, 0 to 0, but in here you cannot copy the states. By adversary, no cloning theorem. Quantum correlations can be used to protect the information. Quantum entanglement. So this is the Bob and Alice noisy channel, communication channel. So here you can see, where does your quantum cryptography fit into it? Here you can see the Bob and Alice. Here you can see secret exchange by quantum cryptography. This is a quantum channel. So Alice will send the secret key to the Bob by quantum channel. Classical channel is different. Quantum cryptography is a key distribution of the technique. Key distribution is better name. Okay. I think see, this is what classical communication, you can see ones and zeros, but in quantum communication it is superposition, security guaranteed by laws of quantum physics. Yeah, okay. So it has got to, sorry, I think I moved to, yeah, you can see here. See, in the classical channel, they are going to send only classical bits along with basis. I'll tell you what is basis, that vector. And in quantum channel, they are going to exchange the keys to open it. Details of the prototype publicly known. Goal to produce a secret key or noting. Eve cannot do better than cutting the line. So they cannot hack. I'll tell you how it can. It is not possible. Alice and Bob estimate Eve.
Sir, your voice is breaking. Shrikant, sir. Shrikant, your voice is breaking, sir.
Now I think it's
now it's okay.
Okay, madam. Yeah, now the what is it is also changing now. Okay.
It is quantum key distribution.
Yeah, Alice operation. So I told you, preparing the single photon. So here we use a single photon, different types of sources, including weak coherent pulsed source, spontaneous parameter down conversion, etc. So these are the source which produces a single photon. Random selection of polarization basis for each photon between rectilinear and diagonal. So we are going to give random. So Bob will select random basis, and Alice will select random basis. So the bases are going on the classical channel only, rectilinear and diagonal basis. Random selection of polarization between two orthogonal states, each basis. Record time sampling and polarization state for each photon. So Bob operation. What Bob does? Random selection of polarization basis for each photon between rectilinear and diagonal. I'll tell you what is rectilinear and diagonal. Measure. So he chooses either rectilinear or diagonal. Measure each photon on the selected. So he is going to measure it, the received photon. Record time sampling and polarization state for detected photon. This is what Bob is doing. Alice and Bob operation. Send time stamping and basis selection for each photon for classical channel. Compare the selected basis for the correlated events. Consider only those events where basis choice match, disregard the rest. So you can see here quantum key distribution. You can clearly see classical channel. So we are going to exchange for Bob and Alice exchanging classical information through classical channel, and they are actually sending the basis also. In quantum, we are sending only the key. I'll show how it will be done. So you can see rectilinear. So it is red one, it may be vertical 90 degrees, or it may be horizontal polarization, it may be 0 degrees. So diagonal may be plus 45 degrees for 0 bit, ket 0 bit, and minus minus 1 bit for 135 degrees, minus 1 bit, 135 degrees. So these two are diagonal basis, and this one red and red are rectilinear basis. So basis, so 0, if it is 0 rectilinear, horizontal polarization, diagonal pause plus 45 degrees polarization. For 1, vertical is 90 degrees polarization, 90 degrees, or it may be 135 or minus 135 or minus 45. So now we will see that clearly. So now, so write on the right hand side, you can see how for rectilinear basis 0, horizontal polarization, it is vertical polarization. Diagonals plus 45 for 0, minus 135 for 1. Now, Alice uses a single photon random selection. So now, so what basis she selected is your rectilinear, and see now bit 0. So for bit 0, she has to send this horizontal polarization. So now she is sending horizontally polarized one, you can see, and it is random basis selection capital R, and transmitted bit is 0. You can see left, I can see left, and unfortunately here this Bob chooses diagonal basis. So if he chooses diagonal basis, he may end up either with 0 and 50-50%. So he chooses diagonal, he may get 1 or 0. It may be 1 or 0. So in the next instance, so random selection, Alice selects diagonal basis, and she chooses 0 for transmission. For diagonal 0, 45 degrees polarization. You can see 45 degrees polarization. Okay. Then Bob chooses, let us see what polarization he chooses. Rectilinear. So definitely the output definitely will not match. Either it may be 0 or it may be 1. 50% of 0, 50% of 0. Wrong choice of basis. Okay. So here he may end up with 0 or 1. He is end up with 1 in this example. So now next, Alice chooses rectilinear basis, and 1 rectilinear means vertical polarization. Okay. Now you can see she is sending, and here you can see what Bob will choose. The basis is rectilinear. Then he will end up with the correct result. Can you see? Correct result. Okay. So next, like that. Next, Alice will choose rectilinear. 1 means vertical polarization like this. Then he the Bob will be getting that one. Let us see what he chooses randomly. He chooses diagonal. Definitely it will not match. He will end up with either 0 or 1. Okay, 0 or 1, anything. It is 50-50%. So another one, another experiment. These are experimental setup. So random selection chooses a diagonal, and the bit to bit transmitted is 1. 1 means plus 45 degrees. You can see, sorry, minus 135 degrees. And let us see what he will choose. Bob, he will choose definitely diagonal polarization. He will end up in the measurement getting the same, whatever Bob chooses. So 1 only. So then last experiment. Alice takes her diagonal polarization, selects, and then she sends 0. 0 means plus 45 degrees. You can see plus 45 degrees. And in the selection, you can see here, it is rectilinear polarization. Now it will not match. Once again, Bob will end up with either 0 or 1. So now you can see the random basis for Alice RD, RR, DD. So this will be sent over what is that channel? Quantum channel, classical channel. Random basis DR, DD of Bob. So now the matching thing, which is the thing key, is 1 1, because you can see. So here it will not match. First one, second will not match. It will be discarded. Third one will match. It is taken. It is taken. Fourth one, it is discarded. Fifth one, it is taken, right choice. Last one, it is discarded. That means the key, quantum key here is 1 1. You can see the key is 1 1. The quantum key between Bob and Alice. So that cannot be hacked. I will show why it cannot be hacked in this one. So now comparing the basis, you can see same basis. Alice uses the same basis. Bob also chooses the same basis. 100% you are getting, 0% you are getting this one error. So different basis. If here you can see Alice is transmitting 1, and she chooses rectilinear basis, but unfortunately Bob chooses diagonal basis. He may end up 50% 1 and 50% 0. So this is what the comparing the basis. Bases are nothing but vectors, I already told. Why eavesdropping is impossible? This is the most important thing. You can see here. So Ali is sending bit. You can see Ali is sending bit 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. Ali's random basis. This is what? Rectilinear, rectilinear, diagonal, rectilinear, diagonal, like that. So for 0, this is the one. Horizontal polarization for 1, vertical polarization. So minus 135 for diagonal, plus 1, and this is plus 45 degrees, like that. So Bob's random selection. So Bob will match. When Bob is going to match, let us see. So Bob's basis will match in the first bit. Second bit, there is no match. Third bit, there is a match. That is, 1 will be interpreted as 1. 4, I'll show next. I'll show just, okay. So Bob will receive. You can see first one, there is a match. He is going to get 0 only. Second, there is no match. It will different basis. He is going to get 0. Third, there is a match. Alice, whatever sent, Bob will receive 1 only. Fourth one, Alice is sending 0, but here a different basis. That is the reason why he may end up with 1 or 0. And the basis for Alice is diagonal, and Bob's is rectilinear. So different, he is going to get 0. And here the same basis, Bob and Alice will use the same basis, that is the diagonal. So they will end up getting the 0 only, correct one. So the last, this one is also wrong. They chose the wrong basis. So he may end up with 1 or 0. Last one, 1. So basis selected by both Bob and Alice are same. So that is the reason why he is going to get 1 only. So these are the matching things. So the key will be 0, 1, 0, 1. So this is the quantum key for Bob Alice. Let us see what will happen in the middle. Shifted key is 0, 1, 0, 1. This is called as shifted key, Bob's key. So now you can see here Eve is coming in between. So here you can see, so basis of Eve, first basis is matching, second basis also matching, third is not matching, like that. There is no match. So what will happen? See, if Eve wants to use photon polarization, so this may match. So this may not, this may match. Yeah, this may match, but here it may not match. So this is what here the bases are different. So when the bases are different, I'll tell you how it will go. Bob's photon polarization. You can see Bob's receiving bit 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. See here, now we can see check use overdropping. You can see here. Yeah. So this he should have got 1, is it not? But you can see Eve is choosing wrong basis. Even though Bob and Alice are sharing the same basis, Eve has taken wrong basis. That's the reason it will come to know when once she measures this one, the state is going to collapse and you are not going to get any communication, will not be established. This is what is the concept behind this Bob this one. And coming to the security issue of BB84 code, so if you send rectilinear basis, it is receiving bit is 50% 0. But if you send different polarization, sending 0, so here it is if the basis is reverse base, supposing say if Alice sends base rectilinear 50% and receiving, and if receiving basis diagonal, here the receiving base is also rectilinear 50-50%. For receiving base, if it is diagonal, but the sending is rectilinear, then 50-50% it will catch up to 25%. So totally 75%, receiving bit 0 or 1. So this can be calculated. If checking key bits are 30 bits, so the error which they are going to occur is 1 minus point, the error is 0.75. If there are 30 bits to the power of 30, it is very, very small number error, and that is hacking. You are going to get chances of discovering if the dropping is 0.9998, and it is almost 100%. So 100% you cannot hack it. So approximately. So this is what actually is known as quantum key distribution. And the last one which I am going to deal is quantum machine learning. I'll take I think 5 to 10 minutes. I'll finish it off. So we have done a little bit on quantum learning, but I told you I'll not share some of the results because they're yet to be published. See here, problem in AI. How do we make computers like ACE listen and understand, learn complexity representation for a touch AI problem? So this is what actually even in mobile, even in laptops we go. How do we make computers that see, listen and understand in AI, learn complex representation through AI problems, challenges and opportunities? So challenges, terabytes of unlabeled web data, not just megabytes or limited data. No silver bullet approaches to the learning. Good new representation are introduced only in 5 to 10 years. Can we automatically learn representation at low and high levels? Does quantum offers new representation? This is what our concern. New training methods. So I think I got another couple of slides left. So this is what is your thing. Deep network learn complex representation. So desired output object recognition, right side, and you can see low level key features. So I am going to give the input V1, V2, VI like that one pixels. Low level key features H1, H2, mid level key features, high level key features. So here edges, low level, mid level textures, high level features. So object it's difficult to specify exactly deep data without explicit laser. Analog levels. Second. Yeah. Why is deep learning so important? Deep learning has resulted in significant improvement in last 2 to 3 years. 30% relative to reduction in error rate on many versions of speech talks, approaching human performance in limited cases. I'm going a little bit fast because time is almost, I've taken a lot of time. New classical deep learning methods already being used in language models of speech, web query, understanding models, machine translation. You can see deep image understanding, image text representation. So these are the primary challenges. So you can see desire a learn complex representation, full Boltzmann machine, in interactable learn fully connected graph, desire efficient computation of true gradient. I think all of this is the basic thing. So desire train close to the linear number of training examples. So now we can see what are the thing. Can we learn more complex representation on a quantum computer? Can we learn the actual objective true gradient on a quantum computer? Can we exponentially set up model for training a quantum computer? Yes, we are showing the result. It is yes, we can do it. Tick mark. So I think before I go for the thank you slide, so you can use this one IBM QuizQuit. You know that Python and Anaconda comes, so you can what you call simulate these results, and everything is available free of cost, free to download from the computer or internet. Sorry, internet. So I think with that one, I would like to conclude my talk. Sorry for actually, I have taken 37 minutes more time, and also there was a, because of the technical snag, I could not able to contact you with for more than 20 minutes. So with that one, I'll thank everyone for patiently hearing my talk on quantum concepts and its applications.
In fact, the talk was very informative. We should thank for your efforts, sir.
Yeah.
You have really prepared the slides in such a way that the people who are attending should learn much about it. You have put a lot of efforts for preparing the slides itself to make the audience understand. The talk was very informative. Thank you for your efforts, sir.
Thank you, madam. If they have any queries,
Any
please,
queries you can
let them-
ask, sir.
or they can, if there is no time, they can, because I got a class now, they can mail to my email ID, madam.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, sir, thank you very much, sir. Your session was very useful for us. Can you please give your email ID, sir?
My email ID is PC Srikanth, that is pcs@mcehasan.ac.in. So I will share, I'll in the chat box.
Yeah, please, sir. Thank
Preeta
you, sir.
madam,
Thanks.
sir.
For
Okay,
I
I
will
think,
post it. I will
Yes,
post it. It is there.
Yeah, we will give, sir.
okay, I will stop sharing it. So need to take photo, we can take photos.
All can switch on your cameras for a moment. Sunita ma'am, you can take a snapshot.
Preeta,
Yeah.
you are there fully?
Yes, there's so much hard work you have done. Very hard work you have done, too much, really. Very nice talk you have
As all
done.
can switch on your cameras.
No, that this thing should go on hands-on. I would have arranged for hands-on also. So morning like talk, evening, I mean afternoon hands-on, so that many would have.
I was watching your tremendous energy. So much. I almost 2 hours. I think I can say 2 hours.
Yeah, already 1 hour talk is over. Morning my class, and I start from 3:30 to 5:30. 2 hours of my class will be. Today I am engaging soon after this one, and 2 to 1:30 to 2:30. See, I do a lot of things in the class also. Many things apart from the curriculum pertaining to the topic.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Photo has taken. So formal, we will end the vote of thanks.
Yeah, I think you can upload it to YouTube, no problem, because some beginners may be encouraged to learn on quantum. Actually, we have done, there are 190 views for my previous talk in my YouTube.
Okay.
That was a little bit different on quantum only. I've changed my slides. So because of my many things are animated, that's the reason why it took a lot of time.
Good. Okay, Sunita ma'am, you have taken the photo. Sunita ma'am.
Srinivas sir is there?
Srinivas sir left in between. He was there. He was there for starting. He was there.
He was telling me to give talk on quantum, to work on quantum for so many years.
Okay. So now I think it's time for vote of thanks, because formally we should give a vote of thanks. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver vote of thanks for day 4 session of FDP on recent trend in photonics. I would like to extend our immense gratitude to today's speaker, Dr. PC Srikanth from MCE Hassan, for being kind enough to accept our invitation, and we are grateful that we had an opportunity to hear you, sir, and a lot of insight about quantum photonics we got, and I thank for your gracing your crucial work and sharing with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome, madam. So now shall we leave?
Yes, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you.